Now, getting more into the crypto space as a whole, do you believe Web3 is undergoing the same adaptation process as the internet did in the 90s and 2000s? And do you notice any significant differences between this new chapter of the internet and how it majorly transformed our lives compared to crypto and what it can do in the near future?
Yeah, actually, I just finished. I was on holidays and finished reading book "Read, Write, Own" by Chris Dixon from A16Z, who's talking about the new generation of internet. Really great book. Everyone should read it. I promise to give a copy to every person of our team as well. I think it's a must read. I think he really nicely puts it together. You know how internet transformed, and when we call it Web3, it's for a reason. Because we had a first wave of internet. Web 1 was actually just websites where you could read information, basically yellow pages online, right? Then the second wave of the internet, the Web 2, was where you could write something. So actually we could post on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, or that means on YouTube, actually contributing content, right? And it was like a very interesting era of the internet. Everyone was very excited, but unfortunately what happened that 80 or 90% of all the major traffic is now in the hands of like top 4, top 5 companies, being Facebook, Amazon, Google, and so on. So basically, what Web3 and blockchain is promising is actually liberation from that monopoly, right? So basically, I don't believe it's gonna change the internet as a whole or our lives. I think it's just gonna make the internet better, right? That's how I understand Web3. So basically, instead of like everyone contributing on Instagram, on YouTube, and actually getting 1% of all the profits that the companies are making, even though you are creator of the content there, it should be democratized, it should be decentralized, right? It should be permissionless, and everyone should share the piece of pie. We know all the stories, like how I think only 1% of all the music creators on Spotify are making more than $50,000 a year. Right, so basically only 1% of all the creators there can actually basically like make a salary to survive, right? Which is not fair. So I think YouTube being the most generous, but they share 45% of all the revenues with their creators. So I think that's one of the biggest kind of promises of Web3 and then the next era of the internet. And then obviously we have all the side of the payments and the banking systems, right? So we have currencies like dollar that depreciated 98% over the course of 100 years. Where there were more money printed in the last year than it was in the previous 100 years and stuff like that. So I think crypto being decentralized, being global, is actually making a promise of like making payments, making banking in a new way that's actually not managed by a handful of people that decide when to change supply or do different things with the monetary system. So a few thoughts from my side. So
I'd like to think about it from a practical point of view, right? It's there have been a lot of ideas floating around. What's super interesting to see is that blockchain or DeFi or however you think about it really gained or experienced the revolution in, I think, 2021, right? Back in the days of 2017, like real world assets and just sort of a practical application of crypto was only a hypothetical approach. Back in the day, there were no sort of on-chain applications, right? You would still use a centralized exchange, and that was pretty much it. Whereas, Uniswap coming out in 2020 changed things and started this just on-chain revolution, right? So with that, it's only been 3 years, but I see it, evolving at a much greater pace than internet did, right? It seems like we're already, in the VC sort of world, we happen to see a lot of companies pitching to us and trying to build many different things, right? So it's super interesting to see that the ideas back in the 2017 era are now becoming sort of practical, right? And we see this many Lego puzzles, right, popping left and right of like, decentralized identity, right? That was previously maybe more of a, also idea, and there were companies trying to do that, right? But we now see a lot more of practical developments there, right? Same with real-world assets, right? There were only ideas or hypotheses back then. Now we see startups selling tokenized sneakers, tokenized, collection cards, and things like that, right? So what's clear about blockchain as a whole is this sort of, asset ownership as a benefit, right? Better liquidity and things like that. So it's very, very, very interesting to see so many companies capturing the benefits of that and building on those benefits. So I think I watched the Michael Saylor video back a few days ago, and he's saying, try taking $100,000 worth of cash in an airport, right? Or the same with gold, right? You can't do that. You're going to get stopped by TSA and whatever. So I think the real benefit of crypto in the majority side is this sort of sovereignty, the asset ownership, and having custody of your own asset.